stick very close to our mission. We work with people of special needs, all different kinds, physical, emotional, mental.
Welcome, everyone, to the Driving Vision podcast brought to you by the Zeigler Auto Group. And here with me, Auto Group Director of Talent Development, Mike Van Ryn. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, like it if you do, and leave a comment. Coming up this Thursday, September 14th, beginning 5:30 p.m. Eastern at the Radisson Plaza Hotel in Kalamazoo, Michigan, is the 41st annual Drive for Life Foundation Gala. Do you have your ticket in hand yet? Do not miss this opportunity to join us that night and make a big difference in the world giving back. As part of our Drive for Life Gala episodes, we focus on the charities that benefit from your donations. Today, we sit down with Cheff's Therapy to discuss how they're changing the world with horses. We go there now. Hey, everybody, welcome to the special edition of the Driving Vision Future of Zag today, in advance of Drive for Life, which is coming up this Thursday, September 14th in Kalamazoo, Michigan, as has happened for the past 40 years in a row. This is the 41st annual event, 5:30 p.m. at the Radisson Hotel in downtown Kalamazoo. So one of the benefactors of Drive for Life is Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center. And Tara East is with me, Executive Director of Cheff Therapeutic. And I'll tell you, Tara, when this first showed up on my list, I saw Cheff Therapeutic and I thought we were going to be talking about cooking and baking, but we're talking about something much more exciting.
Yes, we are.
Tell us what Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center does.
Okay, so Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center is about 55, going on close to 60 years old.
Oh, you've been around a long time.
Long time.
Okay.
And we are the first therapeutic riding center in the nation.
Wow.
So we're the home base for all of that. We specialize and we stick very close to our mission. We work with people of special needs, all different kinds, physical, emotional, mental. And we teach you how to ride a horse, depending upon your affliction.
Yeah.
And we also segue into PTs and OTs and stuff like that. So if you're more an involved patient, we will work with that as well.
That's awesome. So that's interesting. You work with people that have challenges, disabilities. Maybe they're missing a limb, ADHD, some other challenge in the world. But the unifying point behind all of that are horses. What is it about horses that makes them capable of helping people receive therapy?
So really interesting. It's very hard to quantify that.
Yeah.
But there are studies done. And what happens when you get on a horse, there's a lot of bonding and emotional things that happen when you get on a horse. And what it does is that you're not thinking about what you can't do. You're thinking about what you're doing right now.
It focuses you in the moment.
Correct.
You're totally present.
Correct. So people with ADHD or stuff like that will learn to focus. And then we kind of teach them little ways to take that into their regular life. But it's the one place that you can go to if you're a child or an adult that feels different, that there's no judgment in our world. We're all inclusive.
Yeah. So what is it about a horse that brings you and makes you present in that moment? Is it because it's this giant animal and you're learning to not control, but you're learning to work alongside this animal? I mean, these horses are huge, right?
Yeah, you're going to be a partner.
Yeah.
And we usually, for regular therapeutic riding, we usually have you come in and you get to know your horse and you get to brush your horse and you get to saddle your horse and all these things, touching, smelling, seeing, it all adds into your endorphins as you get ready to ride. And then we take you out into an arena and we mount you on your steed and off you go into a lesson.
Well, so you say you mount, like I've been on a horse before.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a terrifying experience. So during COVID, as the world became shut down, my daughter was a junior in high school and there was no school.
Right.
And can you imagine, as a junior in high school, we had very different experiences in high school. All of a sudden you're isolated. You can't be around other people because fear kind of struck the world in that moment. And we got her a horse and we had no background in a horse. Like we had no knowledge. I always wanted to have a horse. And we finally thought, you know what, there's not much else to do. And we didn't want a dog or another animal because we didn't want anything living in the house. And I'll tell you, what you say about the therapy of a horse is true, because I saw this 16, 17-year-old girl connect with this enormously large animal.
Yes.
And figure out how to bond with it. And it created just a special bond. What is it about that horse? What is it about like that human connection? What creates that connection between a human and an animal like that?
I can't really answer that. I've been in horses my whole life.
Yeah,
I can't answer that. Yes.
Yeah.
And there is this connection.
Yeah.
And it's all of those things, the smells, the touching, the animals
smells aren't that great, by the way. The smells are terrible. Okay.
Like it, it's kind of like that. Yeah, the smells are interesting sometimes. But they're like, to me, like a giant dog.
Yeah.
And how we treat our dogs like humans. And that's kind of like how horses are.
Yeah.
Once you understand them and know them, and a horse isn't going to lie to you. If it's having a bad day, it's going to let you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's having a good day, it's going to let you know. So they're very truthful animals, and they don't care about, the garbage at school or what's happening at school. They just want it. They're present all the time.
Yeah.
They're present all the time. And that's really important.
So you mentioned you've been into horses for a long time, probably predates your involvement with Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center. How did you get into this horse?
Well, I was like your daughter. I was horse crazy. And I got my first horse at 13 and just took off from there. And it's just been quite a ride.
Yeah. No pun intended.
No pun intended. It really has. I've earned my living doing it. I went to school for it. I agribusiness degree, and it's just my love and fascination with them.
So when you think about the Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center, you're in Augusta, Michigan. How many horses do you have there on site?
Right now we have about 20, and we constantly, do you want to learn like what we do with them, how we find them? So it's really interesting. We take horses that it's going to be their second career.
Okay.
So a lot of times there'll be people that will show their horses these are kind of like our favorite horses to get, because they'll show their horses for 10 years or whatever, and then they're just done.
Yeah.
And they want to donate that horse, but it's not old enough just to put out in the field.
Right.
So a lot of times we'll get them that way. And those horses come to us really well broke, very calm. They have great movement. There's not a lot of training on our half. They have to get used to certain things because we do things a little bit different there, but it doesn't take them long to figure it out. And those horses are really special and hard to get, but we do get those. Most of the time our horses are donated. Every once in a while, we might have to get a bigger horse or something, and we may have to buy it.
Okay.
And that is just a big gamble on our part, because if that horse, for whatever reason, doesn't like our program, we have to get rid of it. And then that hurts our pocketbook.
And not every horse is a good match, I would imagine.
Correct.
It probably goes to disposition a little bit.
Correct. And they have to be able to deal with a lot of different things, a lot of different people. And I have a great story about a horse like that. My son had a horse that was a contesting you can take that out. A contesting horse, which means he was a performance horse. He did everything fast. He was very hot-headed. He would get very spooky if a piece of paper flew by, but he was very good at his job.
Yeah.
And we had at the Cheff Center an end-of-life ride for this client. It was a child, and all they wanted to do was canter a horse. So it's a little faster than a trot, a little smoother. And they were on oxygen, and we didn't have the right movement in our horses there. And I'm like, I'm going to bring my son's horse down. Yeah. Because he has a beautiful canter. And we put this child on this crazy horse. Well, what could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
With 2 oxygen tanks.
Yeah.
And this horse loved it.
Oh, that's neat.
He loved it. And then we started using him in our regular programming. And then we used him in our PT program. And I could not take him back to his old job. He had to stay there. That's where he really loved life.
That's neat.
Yeah. And he stayed there till his last day.
Oh,
he really did. It was a great story. He was a great horse.
It's almost as if the horse senses that purpose and that need and somehow connects, and
they figure it out so fast.
Because what I found on my daughter's horse anyway, my daughter and the horse bonded so closely. I tried to ride him a couple of times, and he didn't like me very much.
Well,
right?
He probably felt your anxiety.
Well, I'm sure that he did, because I was definitely, this was a big horse, and you're sitting very high off the ground. Right? Yeah. It's a long drop.
Yeah, it is a long drop.
And the horse can drop you if he decides that he's not that excited about having you on as a rider. And I don't think he liked having me on as much as.
Well, they sense your mood.
Yeah.
right away, which is really good.
Yeah.
On children, it's even better because a lot of times they'll know if a child's frightened, they'll just slow things down just naturally. It's very fun to watch.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very tuned in.
So you said this started 50, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
How did it get started? Who started it?
Well, Ted Cheff, spelled with two F's, Cheff,
Yeah.
was a great huntsman for the Battle Creek Hunt Club, and that's fox hunting.
Yeah.
And they bought this land in Augusta. Lyda McGowan came to him. She was a horsewoman, local horsewoman, came to him and said, there's this great program in Europe. I want to go study it. And I think we need to do it here in the US. And he financed her to go to England, and he paid her way. And this is where therapeutic riding actually began in 1959.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he paid her way. She came back. She was all excited. They decided that they wanted to start a program like they had in England here in the United States. Funny story, fast forward 60 years later, now the people from England are coming to us to learn
that's
more
neat.
techniques.
That's
neat. Teaching of abilities. So it's really fun. It is.
So how do you measure success in this world? Like you've got probably so many different people that you've served over a year's time. How do you measure success?
Well, I think just by repeats.
Yeah.
And word's getting out now that the animal therapy is such a big deal.
It is a
huge deal, and people are finally recognizing it.
Goat yoga is a good example.
Yeah,
We've talked about.
It could be dangerous.
Crazy.
It could be worse than a horse.
Yeah.
It could be worse than a horse.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you're a physician or a PT in the area, we work with WMed. So they send out young new doctors to see this, so that it's a great niche for people. If your therapies aren't working, your traditional therapies aren't working one way, try another way. And we see a lot of speech in little ones. It's amazing. That's a good one where children don't talk. Mm. And there's a mental block. Don't know why. I've seen it happen 3 times at the Cheff Center, where we bring in these like 2 and 3-year-olds. And we work with them. We only see them 1 or 2 days, and they've got it. Wow. They start talking. Whatever it does, it triggers something.
Horses are amazing.
It is amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I've seen parents cry over stuff like that. And the nice thing about where we are and what we do is obviously no judgment. But if you're in a group session, the parents have their own lounge, and they get to network with each other and share stories and share therapies. And
they find a community.
They do. It's really good. It's such a welcoming place. And it's good for not just a client, but for all the caregivers as well.
So if I'm listening to the podcast today and I'm hearing this, and I've got a child or maybe an adult or someone in my world that could benefit potentially from this, what's the best way to reach out to you and your team, Tara?
Just look us up online, or look us up and give us a call, and we will send you in the right direction. What we do need from every client, because we are mission-based, is a diagnosis, and that will be done through your doctor. We will send you all the forms and all that good stuff. But absolutely, because we'll goal set with you before you ever even get out in that barn.
That's awesome.
So it's really nice.
That's awesome. Well, Tara East, we're thrilled to have you here. Obviously, 100%, or as we've talked about it before on this show, 100% of the proceeds from Drive for Life, not proceeds, 100% of the dollars raised in Drive for Life go directly to the charities who benefit from that. So there are a portion of the proceeds that go to Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center in Augusta, Michigan. Buy a ticket today at driveforlifefoundation.org, and then join us Thursday, September 14th, 2023, 5:30 p.m. Eastern at the Radisson Hotel in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Tara, we're excited to be able to support the Cheff Therapeutic Riding Center. We're inspired by the vision that you have and the way that you're helping kids. In my own experience, to tell the rest of the story, she had this horse for a couple of years during COVID. And then the horse, unfortunately, the tragedy with horses is it developed arthritis in a joint. And we actually had to put the horse down.
Had it really bad.
Had it really bad. And
sorry.
And so guess what? We got a dog. So now the one thing that I promised we would never do, which was get a dog.
Get a dog. Well,
and now we all love the dog because I think a great service you provide. Horses are not cheap.
No, absolutely. They're not. And we depend on our donors.
Yeah.
And special thanks to the Zeigler group. They have always been so kind to us over the years. We really appreciate that.
That's,
Thank
and it's neat to be able to support people and groups, organizations that are changing the world. And you, Tara, are doing that with Cheff Therapeutic Writing Center. Any final comments or thoughts for our listening audience?
I do. I have one more, and this is kind of a big one, that the mental health aspect, we are in that world as well.
Yeah.
So if you're seeking help of any kind mentally, feel free to give us a call and we will set you in the right direction. If you want to do therapies with horses, we have specially trained therapists, mental health therapists to do it. One other little plug, because you were talking about your daughter, is we run several really cool groups. And one is called Girls in the Barn. And it's for 9 to 13-year-old girls that are kind of not finding their way in the right direction.
Yeah.
And they work one-on-one with the therapists and with the horses. And we tie it all together to help them make better decisions. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What a needed thing it is, too. I think, we've talked COVID. We talked about that time of the world kind of shutting down. People were isolated during that time frame. You probably see more demand for those kinds of services coming out of that than you have.
It doubled in a second.
And we may not still know the full impact, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I think we're all watching it in our kids as they age. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the rise of social media. I think that's one of the neat things about horses is it kind of to your point about being present. That's an important thing.
Correct.
It's so interesting. We've interviewed Big Brothers, Big Sisters, so many of these different charities, and there is power in presence, right?
Yes.
And yet it's simple, but it's not easy.
Right. Right. I like that. It's simple, but it's not correct.
And horses help with that somehow.
It's very helpful. We have a read and ride program we work with the schools on, and we're opening it up to all the local schools next year. But right now we're just working with Gull Lake schools. And over the last 12 years, we've worked with this reading program is for 1 week when you take these first and second graders that are reading below grade level, and they're handpicked by their teachers, and we bring them up to grade level. And we found we've had IRB studies done on this, and they hold that reading level. They can throughout their school years. So, but we do the brain balance, we do the reading to the dogs, we do the reading in the classroom, and then they get on the horse, and everything that they are studying that day is applied in that arena somewhere. And the instructor works with them. So now you got, all your neurons firing in your brain, your endorphins are going, you're focusing better. And the letters that we get from the parents afterwards are just amazing. And they'll come a year later.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
But you haven't told us why it works that way. Why does it work?
I can't tell you that. It's magic. We call it magic.
It's driving me insane because the curiosity in me wants to know, what is that connection?
Right.
I've seen it in my own world with my daughter, but
you can't quantify it.
Yeah,
you can't. Yeah,
which in business we don't like that.
No,
we like a clear connection between the root cause and the effect, and then we want.
But that's why the IRB study worked really well for the.
What's the IRB study?
So it's done by your peers in the medical community, and we keep. It took us 30 weeks or something. It was a very long time. We worked with Bronson Hospital, and we did a study on reading, brain balance, and the horses. We also did one on. For seniors, which I forgot to plug the senior class. So if you ride a horse once a week for 6 weeks, you will maintain your balance way longer than if you didn't. And that's the biggest thing as seniors, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Balance. You always hear people
fires different parts of your muscles, maybe.
Correct.
Or something.
Correct.
I'm getting closer to the why.
And your brain. And your brain.
Yeah, and your brain, right?
Brain,
so how awesome. So do you do tours of the facility there in Augusta?
Absolutely. If you want to come see it, we'd love to have you come out. Please call us so we're ready.
Yeah. That is neat. Well, again, Tara East, Executive Director, Cheff Therapeutic Writing Center. Thank you for being there. Join us, Drive for Life, Thursday, September 14th, Kalamazoo, Michigan, beginning 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Your ticket proceeds go to support charities like Cheff Therapeutic Writing Center. Tara East, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
A special thanks to all those who participated in this week's episode. Until next week, remember, you are the future of Zag today.